back, students. In the last class I discussed about up to propagation over water and flat open area. In this class we will discuss about the last three topics of Unit 3, that is near and long distance propagation, antenna height gain and form of a point-to-point model. So propagation near and distance, okay, means we are propagating a signal but the mobile unit is very near, right? So we are using a suburban area as an example here. So at the 1 mile intercept means before 1 mile or before 1 kilometer, let it be a 1 kilometer. So before 1 kilometer the mobile unit is transmitting a signal, or we are transmitting a signal to the mobile unit. So at the 1 mile intercept the received level is, or the received level, minus 61.7 decibels. Based on the reference set of parameters, that is antenna height. So there the antenna height is 30 meters, that is 10 feet. With respect to minus 61.7 dBm, the height of the antenna there is 30 meters, that is 100 feet. So if we increase the antenna height, then a 6 dB gain is obtained. A 6 dB gain is obtained, and from again we increase the antenna height from 60 to 120 meters, another 6 dB is obtained. So at the 120 meters, the mobile unit received signal is the same as the received at the free space. So at 120 meters, whatever the free space propagation we are getting, signal we are getting, the same signal we are receiving at this point, at 120 meters. So the antenna pattern is not isotropic in the vertical. Isotropic means same. So it is not same. Means the antenna pattern or the antenna propagation, the signal propagation, antenna pattern is not isotropic. Not isotropic means it is not same in all directions, right? So here the main beam we can receive a good signal strength, but in the side lobes we will get a weak signal. Okay. So elevation angle of the shadow of the antenna. Okay. This is the shadow. This is said to be the. So this is said to be the shadow of the antenna pattern. Right. So as we move away from the distance, okay, here with respect to the curves, with respect to the antenna propagation, in the side lobe region, here dB refers to main beam. Okay, in the side lobe region, there is a decrease in the curve. Okay. So the reduction in signal reception. So that reduction can be found in the figure listed in the table below. The table represents the height of the antenna, that is 90 meters. 90 meters, the incident angle theta is 30.4, elevation angle phi is 29.6. Okay, this is the elevation angle phi. And attenuation dB is 20. So with respect to height of the antennas, the elevation angle and the incident angle decreases, and also attenuation also decreases. As we increase the height of the antenna in a near end propagation, the attenuation will increase. It is also represents the same. So that is about near end propagation. So near end propagation, we have to assume that, or we are considering the antenna pattern is not isotropic. So there is a small decrease in curve. And with respect to the antenna height, the incident angle and elevation angle increases, and the attenuation dB will also get increased. Yes, with respect to long distance propagation, okay, not with respect to 1 mile intercept, okay, we will reach up to some 10 mile intercept. The advantage of high cell site is that it covers the signal in a large area, especially in a noise limited system, where usually different frequencies are repeatedly used in different areas. So since different frequencies will be used in different areas, okay, by using a cell site, it covers a large area, but also interference also will get increased. So however, we have to be aware of the long distance propagation or long distance phenomenon. So a noise limited system gradually becomes an interference limited system as the traffic increases. So a noise limited system gradually becomes an interference as the traffic increases. Okay? Because as the distance increases, traffic will also get increased. The interference is due to not only the existence of many co-channel and extend channels in the system, but the long distance propagation also affects the interference. So here the main thing we are discussing is with respect to long distance propagation, traffic will get increased, noise will get increased, and also this shows some effect on interference. So how about it with respect to an area of 50 miles as radius? Okay. So for a high side, the low atmospheric phenomena would cause the ground wave path to propagate in a non-straight line fashion, because there will be different terrain counters exist. The signal will not be in a constant. Okay, it will move in a non-straight line path only. So the wave path can be bent either upward or downward. Depends upon the terrain. Maybe there may be water bodies, there may be some flat area, there may be some valley, there may be some hill area. With respect to that, the wave path can bend either upward or downward. So then we may have the experience that one spot the signal may be strong, at one spot the signal may be strong, the one spot it may be weak. So now we are considering a distance of 320 kilometers or 200 miles. So with respect to the distance, it depends upon the dielectric constant. Okay, we will discuss. Tropospheric wave propagation prevails at 800 MHz for long distance propagation. Sometimes the signal can reach up to 200 miles. Anyway, the wave is received 320 kilometers away because of abrupt change in effective dielectric constant of the troposphere. There will be a change in the dielectric constant. So with respect to dielectric constant, the signal will behave. The dielectric constant changes with temperature, which decreases with height at a rate of 6.5 degrees centigrade per kilometer and reaches minus 50 degrees centigrade in upper boundary of the troposphere. These are the variations. In tropospheric propagation, the wave may be divided by reflection or refraction. Refraction or reflection. These two affects the most. Okay. So what about the tropospheric refraction? Okay. The refraction is gradual bending of the rays. You know what is meant by, you have studied optical fiber. Okay, you know what is meant by reflection and refraction. So the refraction is a gradual bending of the rays due to changing effective dielectric constant of the atmosphere through which the wave is passing. It depends upon the dielectric constant where the wave is passing. So about the reflection, okay, in a long distance propagation, what about the reflection, tropospheric reflection? The reflection will occur where there are abrupt changes here also. Reflection will occur where there are abrupt changes in the dielectric constants of the atmosphere. So the distance of propagation is much greater than the line of sight propagation. Next, what about the moistness? So water content has much more effect than temperature on the dielectric constant of the atmosphere and on the manner in which the radio waves are affected. Right? Next, the water vapor pressure decreases as the height increases. Okay. So water vapor pressure decreases as the height of the signal increases, the water vapor pressure decreases. So that's why we transmit a long distance propagation. Anyway, tropospheric propagation does cause interference and can be reduced by umbrella antenna. Okay, so long distance wave propagation also causes interference which can be decreased by using an umbrella pattern antennas. Okay, so next topic is about antenna height gain. Okay, so in this video lecture only one topic is completed, that is near end propagation. Okay. Completed near and long distance propagation. Only one topic completed till now. Now we are going to the next two topics, that is antenna height gain and form of point-to-point model. So in order to find the antenna height gain, okay, what we are doing? Okay. So we are taking two considerations, two values from two conditions stated as follows. So what are the two conditions? We have to analyze by finding the antenna height gain. So connect the image antenna of the cell site antenna to the mobile antenna. Connect the image antenna of the cell site antenna to the mobile antenna. The intercept point at the ground level is considered as potential reflection point. So the intercept point at the ground level. Okay, where it is intercepting, it is considered as the potential reflection point. You have to consider the reflection point. Second one is connect the image antenna of the here cell site antenna by connecting the cell site antenna to the mobile antenna. Here we are connecting the image antenna of the mobile antenna to the cell site antenna. Means from cell site to mobile, what is the reflection point? Okay, from mobile to cell site, what is the reflection point? So between these two reflection points, we choose the point which is close to the mobile unit. Okay. So we have to consider the closest point which is close to the mobile unit to be the real one, because more energy would be reflected to the mobile unit at that point, right? So this is about the considerations what we are considering. Second, extend the reflection ground plane. The reflected ground plane which the reflection point is on can be generated by drawing a tangent line to the point where the ground curvature is, then extending the reflected ground plane to the location of the cell site antenna. Okay, I have to draw a tangent there where it is going to reflect. Okay, here there are two considerations with respect to case 1 and with respect to case 2. With respect to case 1, the height of the antenna difference is delta H is 40 meters. With respect to case 2, the antenna height difference is delta H equal to, it is given here, okay, 200 meters. Okay, here is delta H equal to 40 meters, here delta H equal to 200 meters. So we measure the effective antenna height. The effective antenna height is measured from the point where the reflected ground plane and the cell site antenna met. The reflected ground plane and the cell site antenna met. The reflected ground plane and the cell site antenna met. Okay. So with respect to this, what is the delta H difference? Okay, where it met at 100 meters it met. What is the remaining height? 200 meters. So delta H equal to 200. Where it met at 100 meters it met. What is the antenna height? 140 meters. What is the difference? 40 meters. So the effective antenna height is measured from the point where the reflected ground plane and the cell site antenna location met. Right. So between these two cases shown in figure, in the previous figure, one is equal to H equal to 40 meters and the other one equal to 200 meters in figure A and B. So the effective and actual antenna height is H1 is 100 meters and similar way H2 is some 300 meters. So calculate the antenna height gain delta G. You know the formula, delta G equal to 20 log He by H. Okay. So by substituting these values in delta G, we are getting the negative gain here with respect to figure A, and with respect to delta G, we are getting positive gain, that is 60 dB with respect to figure B. So what is the conclusion? We have to realize that the antenna gate height delta G changes as the mobile unit moves along the road. So as the mobile unit is moving along the road and moving away from the transmitting antenna, the antenna height gain changes. So in other words, the effective antenna height at the cell site changes as the mobile unit moves to a new location, although the actual antenna height remains unchanged. Right? So this is about topic. Next, in the last topic. Okay, last topic of Unit 3, that is form of a point-to-point model. Okay. So with respect to, so what is the model states? Model states the receiving power is equal to, these are the equations given. With respect to non-obstructive path means it is a direct path. Okay. Obstructive path means it is a reflected path. Okay. Next, what about the propagation? Okay, propagation over land to mobile over water, it represents a free space formula. So this is the general formula given with respect to the receiving power antenna in a non-obstructive path, in a direct path, a reflected path, over water bodies from land to mobile. Okay. And what is the use of using a point-to-point model? Means it is a statement. We are stating these are the equations in a point-to-point model. One is a direct path. This is a direct path. This is the equation. If it is a reflected path or obstructive path, this is the equation. If it is a land to mobile, means from land to mobile over a water, then it represents a free space formula. So the point-to-point model reduces the uncertainty range by including a detailed terrain count information in the path loss prediction. Okay, by analyzing various path loss predictions, here it is stated that by using this point-to-point model, it is correctly predicted. The differences between the predicted values and the measured ones for the point-to-point model were determined in many areas, urban areas, suburban areas, different areas we have determined it. So in the following discussions, we compare the differences shown in the two areas. One is Vipani NJ area, and second one is Camden, Philadelphia areas. So I have taken analysis with respect to these two areas. First, we will plot the points with predicted values at the x-axis and the measured values at the y-axis. Okay. So these are the predicted values in x-axis, and these are the measured values in y-axis. So the dots are data from the Vipani area. Okay, dots. Here the slide represents dots. This is the dot, 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 dot. Okay, these dots represents one area, and these are crosses here. There are crosses here, and this crosses represents other area. Okay, and the crosses are from the Camden, Philadelphia area. Most of them, except the one at 9 dB, are close to the line of prediction without error. So, according to point-to-point model, if you take two areas, okay, this is the prediction without error. This is the predicted curve according to point-to-point model. So, if you take two areas, those two areas prediction points are very near to the curve, right? So, in other areas, the reference was slightly larger. However, the standard deviation of the predicted value never exceeds the measured one by more than 3 dB. Okay. So, it will be in between there will be 3 dB difference with respect to the predicted curve. The standard deviation range is much reduced as compared with the maximum of 8 dB from area to area models. Okay. So, the point-to-point model is very useful for designing a mobile cellular system with a radius for each cell of 10 miles or less. So, this prediction curve is acceptable in a range of some 1 mile intercept to some 10 miles. Okay. So, the point-to-point model prediction model is basic tool that is used to generate a signal coverage map, an interference area map, a handoff occurrence map, or an optimum system design configuration. So, by using this point-to-point model, by obtaining those three equations stated at the starting of the topic, use it to generate a signal coverage map, how the signal is covered, okay, with respect to this area. It may be suburban area or urban area. What is the prediction curve, and the interference area map, where the areas are getting the maximum interference, and the handoff occurrence map, where the mobile unit needs handoff. Next are an optimum system design configurations. Okay. These things you can easily estimate in a point-to-point model. So, this is about Unit 3. So, in this class, we will discuss about 3 topics here. Right. So, one is with respect to near and long distance propagation. Okay, I have separately discussed near and propagation. What is about long distance propagation? About the antenna height gain. We have considered mobile unit to cell site to mobile unit, deflection point to antenna height of delta H. One is 40 meters, one is the 200 meters. And from point-to-point model, it is the fixed model. By using these fixed formulas, you can easily estimate some curve. You easily predict a curve. Okay, if you take an example of two areas prediction points are very near to this curve, the prediction curve. So by using this prediction curve like a point-to-point model, you can easily estimate the interference area, handoff, number of handoffs, etc. So by these topics, we have finished Unit 3. Okay, thank you.